What's up, folks? Back with another reaction, back with the third movement of Beethoven's unparalleled, unprecedented 7th Symphony. As I mentioned, I'm so excited that the two movements I've reacted to already have gotten some positive feedback and, more views than I expected even on a longer timeline. They've only been up for a few days, so I'm very excited about this. As I said, I have more classical music than any other type of music outside of, techno and acid trance. And again, it's debatable if it's not more because, the CDs I have like 450 classical CDs. And those, most of them have 10, 15, 20, 30 tracks on them. Whereas, a lot of the techno records I have, yes, I have like over 1,000 acid techno records, but they're like, they have 2, 3, maybe 4 tracks on them. So, like I said, I may have more classical music than anything else. I'm a huge fan, going way back to my childhood. It will always be something I listen to, so it does make me it warms my heart that there are people who are here for this. So shout out to you guys. I really appreciate it. So let's just get right to it. This is the Vienna Philharmonic with Karl Baum conducting once again, originally from 77. This is apparently a repress. Oh no, 72. That's what I thought it was 77. This is 72. So yeah, this was apparently recorded in 72, not 77 like I thought. But Deutsche Grammophon is once again the label, very famous label in the classical music world. This is the third movement, which is a Presto. I mentioned before, this movement is very sort of happy and, it frolics about. And then it has these sort of like, more subtle, almost kind of like mourning sort of sections. But I'd say it's the most unambiguously happy movement in the entire piece. As I said, or as you heard, the first movement, it's very triumphant and warm and loving in parts, but there are other parts where there's a little more tension, a little more ambiguity. The fourth movement has power and fire, but there are parts where it kind of has a little bit of tension also. But again, this movement, the third movement, the Presto, it's just, very joyful and bouncy and fun. So I hope you're ready for that. Here we go. Like I said, Vienna Philharmonic, Karl Baum conducting Beethoven's 7th Symphony, third movement, the Presto. Where's my tea? Do I even have tea? Oh, it's over there. My first thought as I hear this, I've heard other conductors and other orchestras play this part faster. I don't mind it a little slower, but again, I feel like I've heard it more often a little bit, with a little bit more pace than we hear here. Here. You hear how it did that? It was the same phrase, and it went from, I believe it was the strings to the woodwinds to the horns, was it? Basically, it was the same phrase, and it moved across 3 different parts of the orchestra. Okay. I think it was woodwinds to strings to horns. Love that. They don't call him an all-time master for nothing. I mean, it's like, at first it was like, little furry creatures frolicking through a meadow. Now it's like, whole human, like, what's the word I'm looking for? The convoy of humans bustling with life and like people making breakfast and cooking things. Maybe that's nightfall, perhaps? Because again, these parts feel like a little more subtle, not somber, but it's almost again like this morning kind of stretching, like easing your way into the day. At the very least, even if it's not morning, it's like the more introspective moments of the day. Again, it's not everyone like bouncing and, you know, going through the meadow and doing things, but it's more sitting back and reflecting. But still very, like, you know, nice and happy, like, or at the very least, pleasant. There's no tension, there's no, which is funny because I think there is sort of a tension string through it all. But no, it just has a very pleasant feel to it. I like that in the strings. The horns now take over? Or no, it's the strings, yeah. Both. If you're on the timpani, you're like, oh, this is my part, I get to do it. Bum, bum. I love that. It's like this big grand kind of moment, and then the way it goes into the next section is just it's like the same sort of phrase, but it just kind of like slides off and dissipates. Back to the creatures through the meadow at a slightly slower pace than I've heard it. I mean, just the melodic line is so fun to follow. Like, it's not just how the different pieces connect and the progression of the overall structure of the piece, but like just the little melodic lines, like they're enjoyable to the ear. Just the like progression of notes or chords. A simple point perhaps, but it's the pieces and the totality. It's both. I do love it in the woodwinds. I love that. And the strings kind of overtake it. It's like a spring day, and again, full of like happy people doing good things. And then we're gonna do that same thing again. Boom, 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 boom. And then we're gonna slide off. I'm not sure which sort of side to this movement I like more, the sort of bouncy, like fun, happy sections, or this more, again, pleasant, but slightly more pensive, or pensive I guess is like you're worried a little bit, but thoughtful section. I may actually enjoy these sections even more. It's like sort of filtered light coming through a window, where like it's like warm light coming through the window and you can kind of see like the dust floating in the room a little bit. Again, it's just like you got a cup of coffee and you're just letting the early daylight hit you. It's like a tension string, but it has a little motion to it. Very grand and triumphant. I mean, it's like different flavors of happy. It's like, you know, playful in the frolicking part. Then it's like pleasant and thoughtful. And this is like grand and like celebratory. But it's like all different versions of positivity, this movement. The joy of shining youth. Shout out to Notaman. One more time in the meadow, you know you want to go back. He's suckering, he's tricking you, making you relax. bait and switch. I love it when it goes up. I mean, woodwinds in general, like the oboe especially, the clarinet too, the bassoon. Most of my classical music life, I really keyed in on strings, especially the violin, but also the cello. I love them, but in recent years, like the oboe, man. And once more, the valley springs to life. Or a meadow, whatever I call it. Could be one and the same. Depends on the geography. And now, another bait and switch. As we slide off again, looks like we're going to go into another morning segment. Something's off. Something's a little different. Oh, yeah, a little minor, like what? And when I tell you that the next movement starts with fire and thunder and ferocity and an explosion of powerful life, I hope you don't underestimate my meaning. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed that. Let me know if this movement in particular people are fond of. Someone commented on the second movement, right? I think that's right. It was either the first movement or the second movement. Someone commented and said that they particularly like the third movement of this piece. So hopefully you enjoyed that. You know, I don't know if you heard this particular version of it before. I'm sort of going through this for the first time. The version that I've listened to the most, I forget the conductor's name, and the orchestra. You know, I may just, like when I do the fourth movement, show the CD because it'll be like, this is the one that I've spent the most time listening to. And as I said, this movement, it was a little bit slower than I've heard other orchestras play it. That's fine. I enjoyed it. Had a little bit of a different flavor in those sections. But yeah, hopefully that person enjoyed this. They mentioned the Eroica. I'm a big fan of that one too. So maybe after I finish the 7th, maybe that's the next piece I'll do. As I mentioned, I'm probably going to switch to CDs because sometimes the quiet parts with classical vinyl can be a little surface noise, a little pop, and it stands out more. Plus, I just have way more vinyl on CD than I do, or way more vinyl on CD. Put that on your refrigerator. But way more classical music on CD than I do vinyl. So yeah, like I said, I'm going to do the fourth movement to the 7th Symphony. Hopefully some of you will look forward to finishing it off with me. And then after that, when I do more classical, I'll probably go to the Eroica next. So shout out to that person for the recommendation. Hope you enjoyed. Shout out to Beethoven. Just an absolute master. I mean, I don't know what else you can say. You know, maybe my favorite musician in the history of humanity. And as someone who is obsessed with music in every way and in every day of his life, that's no small praise. So like I said, shout out to Beethoven. I hope you enjoyed. Have a good day. Have a good night. Join me for part 4. Peace.